Week 13 of college football, only one place to start. Number 2, Ohio State at number 3, Michigan. This game's Saturday at 11 a.m. Central on Fox. Michigan, currently a 3-point favorite. Ted, I feel like there's two ways to look at this game. What do I think is going to happen? Or what do I want to happen? And I want the football gods to punish Michigan. That's what I want. But I just don't know if Ohio State is going to be able to hold up at the line of scrimmage against Michigan. That has been the issue the last couple of seasons. How do you see this one going? I want Michigan to lose. They're really good.
Yeah, they are. But so's Ohio State, right? It's been crazy because, outside of the obvious controversy with Michigan, hasn't this been, because of the schedule, hasn't this been like the quietest year you can remember for both Ohio State and Michigan? It's almost like college football's been crazy and all kinds of great stuff has happened, and then Ohio State, Michigan are off in their own world playing whoever. It's been strange. Now, I think Michigan is better on the line of scrimmage on both sides. I think they have kind of flipped the mental game. Like Ohio State had the edge over Michigan forever, right? Like the last 20 years, it's been crazy. And all of a sudden, Michigan wins 2 in a row, and Ohio State melts and falls apart, and the fan base gets pissed, and everything is crazy. I'm anxious to see what that edge looks like with Michigan and Ohio State. I think this could be one of the chippiest games between the two that we've seen. I favor Michigan, but I also have to wonder how much does losing a position coach for this game affect them, with the linebacker coach, being gone? I mean, you get to some point where, for the most part, this has been a distraction for Michigan, and it's kind of been something that they've come together with in us against the world. But this is really the first time that it's moved from the distraction to an actual, this is affecting how we prepare and coach and practice with not having their linebacker coach. So as long as that's not something that really disrupts the way Michigan plays, I take them. But, I'm open to Ohio State being able to go in and get that win, but I lean Michigan.
I do as well. But Ohio State's defense is better than it's been the last couple of years. I mean, Jim Knowles is doing a really good job. I do think that I don't think Michigan's going to be able to play the way that they did against Penn State. J.J. McCarthy's going to have to throw the football. And he's going to have to make some big, tight window throws in this game. And I don't think he's 100%. And they've had problems protecting him these last couple of weeks. In Ohio State, they've got some dudes at the edge position. So when McCarthy has to make those throws, do they protect him well? And then can he throw accurate balls? We'll see. But on the other side, Ohio State's offense has found a rhythm lately. And it's got a lot to do with Travion Henderson being one hell of a football player when he's healthy. They also have that Marvin Harrison Jr. guy. I got a feeling he's going to make some plays in this game, but is Kyle McCord a guy that is capable of going on the road and picking a Michigan secondary apart? I don't know. Maybe, but this is what I do know. Jim Harbaugh's not going to be on the sideline. if Ryan Day doesn't win this one, and I know it's at the big house, I understand that, but I don't even know what the reaction from Ohio State fans is going to be if Ryan Day and this team doesn't go get this one done with Jim Harbaugh not being on the sideline for the game.
Yeah, especially if it looks the same way it has the last 2 years, which is pile everyone in there, win the line of scrimmage, and then beat you with shots, right? Hit you with some big plays and take advantage of you really selling out to stop the run and everything there in the box. And yeah, this one, the stakes are high in this one, which is what we want, right? And it's not just the rivalry, even though it's as hot as it's ever been. College football playoff this is essentially an elimination game.
It's going to be awesome.
Yep.
I don't know what's going to happen, but I think I've made my position on the matchup clear. But we'll see, man. I mean, Michigan is a really good football team. Moving on to the next game. An interesting one in Austin on Friday night. Texas Tech playing their best football of the season. Travels to number 7, Texas, 6:30 ABC on Friday night. Texas is currently a 12.5-point favorite. And this is why I wanted to preview this one. Are we cheering for Texas?
I don't know. I mean, at this point, the most simple solution is Texas wins, Oklahoma State loses.
Do we think BYU can beat Oklahoma State?
Well, the BYU team that we played on Saturday, yes, but that will not be the same BYU team that shows up in Stillwater. It never happens that way for whatever reason.
Well, I also think that Oklahoma State's inside backers will be able to fit the run. Nicholas Martin's pretty good.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah, I favor both Oklahoma State and Texas pretty solidly in their football games.
I am with you. The easiest ways. Let's just run through the scenarios real quick. I think there's 3 main options here for OU to make the Big 12 championship game. OSU loses to BYU and Texas wins. That's the easiest way. If Texas and OSU both lose, which seems unlikely, OU is in. If Texas loses and OSU wins, then I believe you need Kansas State to lose to Iowa State. So I don't really know what we're cheering for, but there are a couple of options for the Sooners to play for a Big 12 championship.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think Tech they're a dangerous football team right now. I just think Texas has so much on the line, and it's the talent they've got, the big play on offense and the front 7 on defense. You know, that's the real strength of the football team. And, you know, it's a factor, obviously, not having Brooks. Whenever he went down, the run game is not as good. And I would say that Ewers was really good against Iowa State and made a lot of really big throws, found their stars. And if he does that again, and he's able to find the stars against Texas Tech, then they're going to win the football game. Tech's going to give it a shot, though. They're going to give it a really nice run at it. I think you could see a game that is really tight for maybe 2 or 3 quarters, and then Texas finds a way to pull away in the 4th.
I do think Tech they've got no pressure on them in this game. Other than what Joey McGuire said in that locker room after they beat him a year ago, that's going to come up. I mean, but they got to bowl eligibility with their win over UCF last week. So all of the pressure, all of it is on Texas, right? You've got Big 12 championship game on the line. You've got college football playoff on the line. You know, all of the pressure is on the Longhorns. But when you look at the matchup, Taj Brooks has been so good for Texas Tech. He's been one of the best backs in college football that you don't hear hardly anything about. But Texas's defense, that front 7, really no one has been able to run on them. except for OU. And as awesome as Taj Brooks has been this season, I just can't imagine they're going to gash Texas with the running game, which means Baron Morton's going to have to play the game of his life. And can he lead his team to one of the more satisfying upsets in school history? I don't know, man. Texas is a really good football team. I think that win in Ames was like a big sigh of relief for Steve Sarkisian and for those players. And it doesn't feel like Texas Tech has enough to go get this done.
Yeah. I think they're going to make some plays and they're going to have some moments in this football game. But whenever we've seen, I think their offense is better than Iowa State's right now. I think the run game is better, and I think they've got some good wide receivers. But whenever teams have had an opportunity to put Texas away, they just have not been able to do it. And often it's been teams getting in their own way. I don't trust Texas Tech enough to be able to be dialed in, not make the big mistakes down the stretch if they do have a second half lead. So reluctantly think Texas wins the football game.
I'm with you, which means
I'd rather Texas lose and us still not get in, than like if we're not going to get in by Texas and Oklahoma State winning, I'll just take the opposite where Texas loses and we don't get in if that's possible.
Perfect. Yeah. At least they don't go to the playoff that way.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. There are 126, 128 different scenarios for the Big 12 championship game.
Some really weird ones.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how it all works out. Last game I wanted to hit. Number 16, Oregon State goes to Autzen Stadium to take on number 6, Oregon. This game will be 7:30 p.m. on Friday. Oregon is currently a 14-point favorite. Really, I brought this game up to just look at the picture of the Pac-12 right now. This is going to be a very physical football game. There's no doubt. But any chance, even after the loss to Washington, any chance the Beavers can catch the Ducks, maybe glancing ahead to the potential rematch with Washington in the Pac-12 championship game? Any chance of that happening?
Yeah, I think there's a chance. I think Oregon State's a really good football team. I favor Oregon. Oregon is really, really good. Really good. And I know that, like, you look at the USC game and it's like, wow, that game was closer than I thought it was going to be. It was not close. Oregon scored on every single drive they had, and they were all like 10 minutes long. It was crazy. Just total, absolute control of that football game. They are great at running back. They are great at quarterback. They've got wideouts, defensively solid in the front seven. They're a really good total football team. And I don't think you can outplay Oregon at quarterback. I think with them being at home and having the edge at quarterback, Bo Nix has been incredible. He's completing almost 80% of his passes. And what's he have, like 29, 30 touchdowns through the air and just 2 interceptions. Been incredibly efficient. I think Oregon gets the win.
Bo Nix currently 3,539 yards passing, 78% completion percentage, 35 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He also has 5 rushing touchdowns.
40 touchdowns, 2 turnovers. Whew. Pretty good.
Pretty good. Now, I just trust Oregon to make more explosive plays offensively. That has just not been a strength, especially when they've been playing good teams, of DJ Uyunglele and that Oregon State offense. And meanwhile, you mentioned it, Troy Franklin, Bucky Irving, those guys are big plays waiting to happen for the Ducks. And I trust Bo Nix to take care of the football and play well and lead his team to the chance to win a Pac-12 championship game and a chance to go play in the college football playoff. And you just mentioned the numbers. This game, also big-time Heisman Trophy implications for Bo Nix. Autzen Stadium is going to be rocking for this one. I kind of think Oregon State's walking into a buzzsaw here, Ted.
It feels that way. Yeah. They've got, I think everyone is around Oregon in a good way is like feeling like they've got something special there right now. That's going to be a big atmosphere with everything on the line. It's hard to imagine Oregon State getting the win, but Oregon State is a really good football team, and if Oregon goes in and doesn't play like themselves, turns the football over, which they haven't done, give up some big plays over the top to Oregon State, which, that hasn't been much of a problem for them, then yeah, you can lose the football game, but you'd have to have a very uncharacteristic game from Oregon.
Yeah. I think Oregon's going to take care of business. I think Washington is going to take care of business against Washington State. And I think we're all going to get that rematch that we wanted in the Pac-12 championship game, which is going to be awesome.
Yes, it is.
Cannot wait.